Hello, my name is Caleb Smock, and welcome here to Wildland Raceway Park for the 2024 season kickoff for this live stream. Just a quick preference, I know this is a bit early on. For all of you guys who have questions, comments, or concerns, you can actually type them in the chat. And my phone's just showing right now. We will have those come up here. So I'm going to introduce Andy and Sarah, the owners here of Wildland Raceway Park. They're going to talk about what their plans are for this 2024 season. After that, we're going to meet the rest of the crew here to answer all of your guys' questions and get all the information. So I'm going to hand it over to you. But guys, real quick, recap the 2024 season. You had a whole bunch of updates that came in, started a little bit later than what you were anticipating with. We want to make sure everything was done right. New teams, or I shouldn't say new teams. Teams stuck around but improved their programs, built up their garages that they had. So go and talk to us about what happened this year and what your guys' thoughts were in general for 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for their patience. The last couple months, I realized that we've been a little bit quiet, but it's not for lack of work. We've been working extremely hard behind the scenes, trying to get all of our ducks in a row to be as prepared as possible for the 2024 season. Like Caleb said, we've worked extremely hard on-track improvements. We've added 850 feet of entry and apex curbing. Starting Friday, we'll add another 350 to 400 feet of exit/rumble strip curbing, and hope to be completely wrapped up with that about a week from Friday, this Friday. So at that point, we'll bring our painting crews in and start striping it in our Whiteland colors, and we're super excited about that. I think it takes the racetrack to a new level, aesthetically and from a competition standpoint, from a safety aspect and a racing line aspect. So outside of that, we're working to add almost 1,500 feet of new 6-foot permanent fencing. We're scooting all the barriers back around the facility to really expand the racing and some of the off-track excursion areas. We've already cleared another 125 feet of tree line from the banking to the 180, so that's all clear now. Those barriers will be pushed back again. Same with the front straightaway once the new fence is in place, and then what is now the new kind of side straightaway along the motorhomes there. Outside of that, just a lot of landscaping improvements in general, trying to help the drop-off a couple spots around the track where we had issues. Adding almost $35,000 in additional LED lights to really put sportscast lighting on the new track side where we felt like we missed it a little bit last year. That should all be wrapped up hopefully middle of March, but realistically by April 1st, so we'll be ready for some night racing in the summer. We are working right now to sink the scales in the ground in the scale house, so we can expedite that line a little bit more and make it easier on your racers getting on and off. Try to build a little consistency there in keeping the scales at 0 for you all. A lot of electrical AV fiber updates continuing. I was extremely proud of the broadcast and the capabilities that we were able to do the last couple years, but I think this year will really take us to a new level. We've had some good meetings the last couple days to set some of these permanent fixtures in place that we've ran all the infrastructure to over the last 12 months and kind of finalize those positions. So just a lot of details. Still working on the kind of observation platform. That might be one piece that's not finished come middle to end of March when we start racing, but it's still on the radar and still looking to be done here sooner rather than later. But really the most important thing tonight is to introduce and discuss some of the off-track changes. We've had a great opportunity this winter in working with Joe Janowski and Christian Marsh and his staff from Stars, and bringing on Matt Burpo as race director, and really integrating Vince into the team as well, and trying to hit our stride and really round out where we feel like we've missed the last couple years, both from a competition standpoint, a consistency standpoint, and a business standpoint. It's no secret I've been very honest and upfront with the money that we've invested over the last 5-6 years. We're approaching, $7.5 million, and Sarah and I are no different than the majority of our racers. We don't come from money. We've got great banking partners. We've got people that have lent us money throughout the effort to get to the point where we are at today. But at the end of the day, the business has to at a minimum, it has to break even, it has to pay for itself so that it's here for you guys, for the racers, for years to come. And I think what we're doing now to showcase our racing product with the people that we have in place to bring up the consistency, the professionalism, the added features, and to really focus too on maximizing our rental customers is the direction that we needed to go. So I'm incredibly thankful for Vince and all he's done the last couple of years and his buy-in on this. He's fully behind us, and we definitely wouldn't be here without him. And we're excited to see where this team can take Whiteland Raceway Park and the Indy Karting Challenge in 2024. Got extreme confidence in Joe and his team and in Matt and some of the ideas that have been discussed over the last month and kind of how we're trying to lay that out. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm more of a broad scope guy at this point, so you can dig into the details with these guys tonight and down the road. We've opened the lines of communication between Facebook and really pushing the people to Discord and really trying to get answers to your questions as fast as we can and show you the effort that we're putting forth as a group moving forward. Schedule updates, I want to take some personal responsibility there for the schedule updates. I'm the one that initially put the 15 race schedule out there for everybody a few months back, and I did that strictly to try to get what I could concreted at the time with the asterisks at the bottom that it was tentative. After bringing in this team, we really looked at a broad scope of where everybody was at in the Midwest and where a lot of the regional and national series were at and where Newcastle Motorsports Park was at and MCC was at and G&J was at and, you know, what's happening over in Missouri and Illinois. And we're really trying to strengthen Midwest karting, and we're really trying to put forward the best product that we can, no matter the race schedule. So I'm happy with what we've come up with. You're still going to have your 2 drops just like you always had. We've got a lot of newcomers to the sport over the winter. Had great conversations with a lot of our bigger teams around the area and super excited to hear what's coming forward on their ends too. So I think it's all a good thing, but the drops that you saw, the additions that you saw, I take the heat for that, and I think what we've got moving forward will be significantly better. And again, Joe and Matt and their team are going to be announcing what we're planning for some of the summer weeknight under the lights series as well. And we'll probably transition there with some senior nights and some junior nights and stuff. But obviously, I think that's a big piece to Whiteland is running under the lights and the history there. And I'm incredibly proud of what we've been able to do with the LEDs and recent years, and excited to see where they can take it on a kind of a mini series schedule for some weeknight racing. So, and also excited to see where we can bring some of our USAC and Road to Indy and IndyCar and sports car guys who live in the city with their families maybe back into the program. So I think that'll be a big deal, and I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see. 3:15 practice timeline. So we're still shooting for opening on Friday, March 15th, if everything goes well. Again, that's tentative date right now. We'll give everybody kind of a week to get ready for that first race, provided that Indiana weather sticks with us. We've had a bit of a mild winter and are encouraged by that, and we're hoping that it sticks around, but it's a little bit of a moving target right now. So that's our goal, is March 15th for open practice, and still sticking to that 3:23, March 23rd timeline for the first race. Overall, I just think that our dream feels like it's back alive again and has a lot of momentum moving into 24. So that's something we're incredibly excited about. And we obviously wouldn't be here without you racers. So thanks for sticking with us. Like I said, I apologize about our lack of answers on our side over the winter, but there's a lot of moving parts that we wanted to sort out and continue to make better for you all. So that's really all I've got tonight. I'm going to hand the mic off to Sarah and let her say a few words, and then we'll bring Joe and Matt and Vince in and let them roll forward with the program. But thank you to those who tuned in tonight and who watch this later. And please feel free to utilize our new lines of communication to talk directly with these guys and get answers to your questions. So we're really looking forward to going racing with you all. Thanks.
It won't be as long. I just want to add to Andy's comments that obviously you all can see the investment that we made in the facility itself. And I think the facility really speaks to how we want to continue to adjust, make changes, and make the place better. We love Whiteland. We both have been here. Andy grew up racing here. I pretty much met Andy here outside of the race team. And so for us, the future for Whiteland is important, and how we get there is important. And we've always said that people are the core of your business. And we have an excellent group already. We have a great group of people here. But being able to travel in the last couple of years with our family to see how some other organizations and series do it, and to see how they take a great facility and turn that into an efficient race program has taught us a lot. And so we're really honored to be able to take this team and merge it with the great people that we have and complete Whiteland as a whole. So thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you this year.
So I'll take this back. I'm going to bring in everyone else, I believe, here. So Joe, Matt, and Vince, come on over.
Put me in the hot seat. Oh, sure, absolutely. All right.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just introduce everybody as we go down the order here. Some new faces for you guys here at Whiteland, and maybe some familiar ones as well. So Vince Haddon, as we all know, race director last year, is kind of stepping back in his role right now. So he's going to be more on the off track and more of the behind the scenes when it comes to the actual facility itself. Joe Janowski to my left, your guys is right. Long history here in Indiana of karting with NKA, Stars Karting Championship Series, and as well as a former race team owner, if I'm not mistaken, there when you had Factory Fury. Yeah. Way back in the day. And then all the way down to my right here, the new race director is Matthew Burpo. You guys have probably seen on track and advocate racer and promoter for the 206 and shifter class here in the Midwest, and now is got his new role in the president of SIRA. So I'm just going to go ahead and start down the order here before we get into some questions here. Real quick as well, for you guys' personal questions, if you leave them in the chat on the Facebook live stream, I can read those off. We can get your guys' questions answered quickly. So I'm starting down here with Matt. Work way down the order. Just general introduction of yourself and how you got here.
All right. Well, I got involved in the SIRA president role this past winter, and I'm going to take a step back from racing so much already. And here a little while ago, Joe got a hold of me and asked if I wanted to step into the race director position, and something new to try, and I definitely want to expand my horizons in the back end of stuff now.
Hand back foot off to Vince.
Keep that mic close.
Hey everyone, you know me. I'm Vince, race director, general manager last year. I've been with Andy and Sarah ever since they opened SIK back in, 2016, I want to say. So I really became part of this family. I love working here. Definitely taking a step back from the competition side, but I'm more than happy to be working in the front of house. So you'll see me every day. I'll be here on the race days handling all of the non-track things, rental carts, any other questions you have. Feel free to come see me, and I'll be happy to answer you and help you as best I can.
I get to be next, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, with the intro stuff, I'm Joe Janowski. And so, obviously, as Caleb said, I've got a pretty long history of kart racing and some other stuff around here in the Indiana area. I grew up south of here. I actually started racing at Whiteland in 1981. So, I'm really old, basically. Not as old as Bill Angel, if Bill Angel's tuned in, because I saw your Angel shirt there. So, Bill, if you're watching, go Boilers. So I want to make sure I got that out there for you, Bill. But at any rate, and so this has always been a place that's been near and dear to my heart. And I spent a lot of years racing here, raced against a lot of really good racers here. And, when I watched it, like a lot of people, I watched it kind of go through a pretty tough period. And when Andy and Sarah first came in, I was one of the first people that, this is amazing. I'm so glad you guys stepped in and did this. This was awesome. And to see what they've done in terms of just all of the things. I mean, we're sitting here in this beautiful building here. For those of you that might remember some of the old stuff, it's like such a massive change. And so when we started communicating about maybe me getting involved in Whiteland, which actually really didn't come to full fruition until actually fairly recently, which is why you see a lot of changes happening really quick. It was like that thing like, man, do I do it? Do I do it? Do I do it? But how can I not, right? So this is something that I really want to see fly. I really want to see it become a premier facility here in the United States, and I want to be a part of that. So, and then part of it too for me is I'm at a point where the sport has been really good to me in a general sense. I've got friends across the United States. I have friends across the world at this point. And this is an opportunity for, I don't like to hear the thing like, it was an opportunity for me to give back, but this is another way that I can be involved, not talk about it, but actually get involved in something and leave the sport and maybe a facility and other facilities that may learn from things we come up with here better than what I found it. And so I hope that all of you that are going to be racing here with us this year begin to see that kind of long-term passion that I have for really good events and trying to create really good events. And really happy to have, I can't believe Burpo said yes. I mean, I called him and I told him, I expected him to tell me to screw off, basically. And then he said, yeah. And I was like, well, that was easy. Burpo obviously doesn't know what he's getting into. So, and I'm really happy that, Vince is staying on with us. And I don't really think that was ever really a question. But whenever, you have a new guy like me come in and I've got all these crazy ideas, a lot of times people go like, whoa, dude, you need to chill out and mellow out a little bit. But Vince has been 100% in. So it's been really great. Initially, we haven't had a lot of time, to be honest with you, to sit down and really get in the nitty gritty. That's going to be happening, over the next 2 to 3 weeks of really dialing things in and getting how we want it to be. But so that's how I ended up here, man.
I'll take this microphone back. And so we're going to do this is, I think I'm just going to ask very broad questions within one microphone. Whoever has their hand out grabs for it first can go for it. So we're going to have to share this back and forth. I think the one thing I want to comment on is just, I think we were talking about before we aired as well, is the mix between different series. Because you have president of SIRA, you have the owner and the president, basically, of Stars of Karting. You have Vince, who's here at Whiteland. And so I think the biggest common consensus we all have here is we want to merge it together. And like what Andy said, is just improve karting in the state of Indiana and the Midwest in general. I feel like it's been on the up and up so far. So whoever wants to comment on it first, has there been a lot of conversation so far about the different mindsets coming together in this one facility?
You guys want to take it or you want me to go for it, Vince?
I think it's really good. I've been around racing my whole life. Karting's kind of newer to me, so definitely seeing these other mindsets of these guys who have been here a whole hell of a lot longer than me and know what they're doing. I mean, it's good to bounce ideas off of each other and kind of get idea. I think everyone in the Midwest wants to see each other succeed, so to have 3 really different series coming together, bouncing ideas off each other, you know what works, you know what doesn't, and you can kind of just play around with it until you get that winning formula.
Sure.
You guys will find out that even though I say I don't like to talk, I actually do like to talk, apparently. But, one of the main reasons I started Stars a number of years ago, and before that, my family started SCUSA back in the early 90s. And one of the main reasons I came back and got into Stars had a lot to do with just working with so many tracks that we do in the NK. There's 300 some odd, it changes by the year, but was really to begin the process of developing like best practices that we could actually get out and into the sport in some way. We actually recently had an NK summit with a lot of NK facilities on there and kind of going over a lot of different things that we've learned at Stars and just in general, maybe just in my lifetime of doing these things. So it's really a lot of fun to talk to Vince about, okay, so Vince, tell me what it's been like being here for the last 3, 4, 5 years and talking to Burpo, who's going to be coming in and he's just getting into that part that we all kind of get to where you're really tired of working on go-karts, but you really want to be involved in the sport still. So, you begin to see people like Burpo begin to move into taking on a president role or taking on a race director role and passing on some knowledge and experience in their own way. So it's been a lot of fun, to be honest with you, because, Vince looks at me like I'm crazy half the time. And which is good, right? Because I am crazy half the time. But ultimately, I think we're going to end up using that to come up with some really cool stuff.
And then I want to pass on down to Burpo because if you want to talk about undertakings, you're in the process right now of basically revitalizing a series and pushing into the forefront as well. So your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so when I took over the SIRA, I actually have modeled a lot of it off of Stars. just because we ran the program and really like the way that's ran. And but we've took some stuff from Whiteland from the past as well. So it's definitely been a big, giant undertaking as far as like taking something that didn't have a season last year per se, and then coming up with the season, and then trying to bring that here and bring stuff from here to there.
And so we'll get into the questions you guys have and the stuff that you guys have written down. So I think the first one is, what new changes do you guys have coming this year? And we'll just start down the order from there. And if we need to comment on more things, we will.
Well, we got like a lot of changes. There's I think there's not a whole lot that we haven't really changed. Obviously, I'm going to lead off with probably the Indy Karting Challenge. Which really, sometimes it's like, man, having a good name, always says a lot, right? And it just in kind of a cool logo, and so I was sitting there and I was doing some work, preparing the Alpha registration system, which I can touch on a little bit later. But I'm just thinking to myself, man, all I'm putting in here is like WRP round 1 or WRP round 2, and I'm like, this place deserves something cooler than that. So some buddies and I, we sat down and we started riffing on ideas, and Indy Karting Challenge kind of just kept sticking. And sort of embodies. I kind of like the tie-in, honestly, with the whole indie thing. I mean, it really wasn't intentional, but the logo came out pretty cool. So that was probably the first thing that changed. Obviously, the schedule had to get revised a little bit, and I know Andy's caught some flack for that. Andy fell on the sword for it. I appreciate that, Andy. I was probably the driver of a lot of those changes behind the scenes. There's a lot of racing out there. And a lot of people are involved in a lot of different programs. And so there was an absolute necessity to kind of revise a few of those things. And that really wasn't really on Andy. It was really kind of more maybe the current situation than anything. And it was really important that we still had a lot of racing. So the Wednesday night program is going to be something that I've wanted to do for years. Not because I wanted to promote it. I wanted to race in it. And I've been pushing for the Wednesday night stuff for I can't tell you how long. And I still don't get to race in it. And that really sucks. But you guys do, right? So I really want the Wednesday night thing to be something really bonkers. So we're going to be releasing the schedule on that a little bit down the road. Right now, I think in a general sense, this team is, I like to say, drinking from a fire hose, right? There's a lot that's going on in a very short period of time. And so we're going to kind of triage sort of where we are in that particular process. But there's going to be a lot of information coming out about it. I think it's going to be super cool. I'm going to be really mad that I'm not racing in it. Probably another big change is going to be Alpha. And it's a program that I came across a couple of years ago. We use it at Stars. It's absolutely fantastic in terms of registration and all of the things that it does. It's got a really cool app. It's got all kinds of neat stuff in it. From a backside, from a management standpoint, it really is going to help us kind of keep on top of a lot of things. We're able to do almost everything through it. Reserve parking and your memberships and your race entries and purchasing tires and fuel and things like that. You're going to have a one-stop shop that you guys can use. There's a little bit of a learning curve, like everything, right? But it's pretty straightforward. Most people are able to pick it up pretty quick. I've talked about most of this. Probably the last one I want to make sure I really touch on is Discord. And normally when I see Discord get introduced, there's always a little bit of pushback. Well, I can't make Discord work. Or I don't know. I don't like how it looks or whatever it is. Discord, I began using at Stars a number of years ago. It's a program that came out of internet gaming. And it got really popular because it's a great way to communicate. And so because I still do online racing, it was something that I started when I started Stars a number of years ago. And it is an invaluable tool. It allows us to, the things that we do between races on Discord is important. Hey, there's a schedule update, or hey, we have to close the track down on Wednesday, because, Vince got sick or he's going to get sick or something. We can get that kind of information out, right? But when we get into the racing situation, we've got to revise the schedule. We've got to shorten classes. We've got weather coming in, and we need all of you to button up and get out of here. That's where Discord is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so make sure you guys take some time, download it, play around in it, kind of get used to it. We have a help desk in there. The help desk is the one place that you guys can actually ask a question. And so in real time during events, if you're not sure what's going on, you can always pop on, and one of our staff, whoever is the least busy probably at that moment, is going to pick that up and get you an answer to the question. In a general sense, I can let these guys talk about some stuff too if you want to, but in a general sense, I want everybody to know that I'm bringing a lot of experience into this in terms of building efficient race programs, building great teams, and a lot of that, and kind of speaking of what Sarah and Andy said, a lot of that's just finding really good people that are really interested in creating that kind of same environment. So I really want to make sure that we foster a positive environment and a family environment here at Whiteland. That is important. The worst thing that we could ever possibly do is have anything but that. And when new people are coming and enter our sport, they find their way to Whiteland and they want to come check out a race at night, then I want them to see and I want them to feel a good environment. That's the environment I used to race in here. I want to make sure that that's very important. And I want all of you to know that we're always going to be striving for constant improvement. We're not going to get everything right. I can tell you right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that on May 23rd, things are going to go screwy. And on May 30th, it's going to go a little screwy. But as we go and as we improve and as I'm able to evaluate how we do things, and after the events, I'll sit down with Vince and Burpo and Andy and whoever else is involved, and we're going to come up with, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. That's kind of how I operate. That's the philosophy I'm going to bring into this. So, never assume that something that doesn't work is never going to change, because it probably is, because I don't like things that don't work, and I know these guys don't either. And I really can't think of anything else necessarily, but I'm really happy to have Burpo in. When I originally approached Andy about Matt coming in as race director, and I said, Andy, do you know Matt well? And he goes, I don't know him really well. He says, but I can tell you, he says, after every race weekend, there was always an email in my inbox on Monday morning from this guy named Matt Burpo, and it was the things that we could do to improve the facility. And I said, that's your guy, right? Someone who can take the time to sit down and go, hey, this could be better, and I've got ideas, and I want to let you know what those are. That's the person you want involved in your program. Super happy with fence. So as you guys come out here, if it has to do with what I call on that side of the fence, which is, you guys don't know where I'm sitting maybe necessarily, but looking at the buildings and the garages and those things, Vince is going to be your person. If it comes down to the competing side, the competition, anything going on that side, that's going to be a Burpo thing. And I'm going to be working mostly in the background. You probably won't see me a whole lot. I'll get out there a little bit, but I'm really going to be focused on helping these guys operate and move around and refine how we do things. So I don't know. I'll go ahead and cut myself off right there.
No, you're all good. And just a reminder too, write down your guys' questions as they come along, so go ahead and put them in the Facebook chat. We'll do one more round of questions for these two over here. Just again, this is more of a get to know and talk about the 2024 season. So I guess you can call this your final warning. If you have questions that you want to ask right now in the live chat, go ahead and put it in Facebook, and then I will go ahead and transfer it over here. So I'm going to move down to Matthew Burpo, and as Joe touched on, not someone who's afraid to be open with criticism. But with that being said, you always offer a solution. You're not someone who likes to yell and say this is what's wrong and then leave. You always offer critical solutions of how things can go forward. Now, you being a personal racer here, I know you were here since Andy and Sarah bought the facility, ran CKNA, Newcastle, here, MCC. You've been all over the country in karting. What are some things you're looking out for this year, and some things on the race directing and the calling side of things that you just want more people to be aware of?
So as far as like calls and on-track stuff, really I'm just, we want to keep it clean. I mean, it's club racing at the end of the day. We're not, going for national titles here. We don't need to be cleaning people out in the hairpins or, making low percentage moves. Just in general, keep it clean. And it normally is around here for the most part. There's always some instances, and, people want to do a little bit of tit for tat sometimes, but we just definitely want to look at keep doing what we're doing, and everybody to be happy at the end of the day for the most part.
Yeah, I think those are good points to come across with, and I think everyone can appreciate the whole keeping it very minimalistic. Don't come and change a whole lot of things. Vince, we're going to miss having you out on track and running around all the time, but I think I was texting with you beforehand, you're a little bit relieved to be stepping out of that role. But tell us on the backside of things outside of what happens on race weekends, because you're still going to be the main man running things here. What changes might there be on the backside, and what's something else that you think people should be aware of going into this year?
Yeah, so you mentioned it. I am a little bit relieved to kind of be taking a step back from the competition side. Not because I didn't like it, but just mainly there was a lot on my plate last year. I think Andy will agree with me that we were a little bit in over our heads. We were distracted by too many directions at once, and there were some things we could definitely improve on, whether it be making sure everything in the registration lobby is going well, making sure the bathrooms are stocked and everything's good. We kind of let some things slip because we were getting pulled in too many directions. But that's what I'm going to be focusing on race day. So you'll see me. I'll be out and about, taking care of everything on the front of house. So if you have any issues, I'll be more than happy to help you. That help desk on the Discord that Joe mentioned, a lot of times I feel like I'll be one of the ones answering that as long as it's not the competition side. As for the general week, I'm still going to be here like I was all last year, making sure everything's running smoothly here. Whether it be practice or the rental side, which we're really going to push this year. Trying to make sure that we have those customers coming in as well. Other than that, I'm happy to be working with these guys. Like I mentioned earlier, they have a lot of experience, some different insights than I had last year, so it's nice to kind of take a step back, see how they operate and work, and then just try to grow the facility as a whole, because I believe we have all the makings to be a top-tier national facility. And if you just have a 1-2 person team that's trying to do everything, it's not going to work well. So I welcome the changes and looking forward to a great 2024.
Thank you. That's time. I'm going to go on this order. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the questions. Whoever feels like they have the answer to it, I'll just hold the mic out for you. So starting up here, let's go down to, not the ones from Jared Howardson, comments about me. Here we go. So, Josh Lockhart, will customers who had long reserved pit spaces last year get first rights to renew those spaces this year?
Yes, those that had last year, I'll be sending emails out in the following week or so. We will try to get everyone who had the reserved pit spots last year, we'll try to take care of them first. We'll have exact pricing and all of that released on the Facebook and Discord shortly, but if you had it last year, you will get first dibs.
Now I'm going to actually go ahead and hold that one, Stuart. Sorry, miscommunication on my part. So the question is going to be on the screen at the bottom here that I just looked over the television and saw. So the first one is, when will parking spots open for the year?
Kind of like I just answered there, we are finalizing pricing as well as the different parking options. So we hope to get that out in the next week and a half or so. Just pay attention to that Discord and Facebook for us, and we'll share more information when we can.
All right, and then we're going to move on here to what I think is going to be the next question. I'm going to wait for confirmation on Stuart. Who will the tech crew be answering to?
So the way that I was told, by the way, I had Sarah was waving at me that I need to eat the microphone, right? So anyway, which is always kind of weird, right? Basically, I can give you the philosophy of how I put things together. And that is that the race director, a lot of people want to see a race director running around and race directing everything. And there's only one guy. And so that guy can only do certain things. So the way that we do it is tech, in essence, answers to the race director. Okay? Scales answers to the race director. Anything involving competition is under the race director's purview, right? So that's how these things kind of operate. And hopefully by the end, what you'll see Matt will be moving to the areas that need attention. We're going to have a different way that we operate on the racetrack in terms of we're going to implement something that we do at Stars. And that's not really that interesting, but I can go into it later if people want to. So it's going to free him up so he can actually move to where the issues are and things like that. So that's cool. But ultimately, by the way, I'm just going to throw this in there. I mean, the head of tech is the head of tech. So you really can't negate the fact that there is someone that is the head of tech. And so I don't know, maybe the head of tech answers to the head of tech. But, that's kind of how it works. So if there's an issue, obviously Matt's going to get involved in that thing, and then that can escalate from there. But tech for the most part kind of takes care of themselves.
I'm going to wait for the next question here, so we're like an idiot yet again, which I'm pretty common too. All right, here we go. Next one is, how much does it actually cost to start karting?
That one came to me. Well, that's really kind of a good question. And I think the answer is it varies. If you can come in to a place like Whiteland and you're able to find a good used chassis, probably one of the best ways to start is to come out and do some of the rental karts. And we're also going to be launching some rental kart leagues this year. That's kind of a thing that can get people into karting because they operate in a lot the same way that we're going to do our traditional karting events. That gives you an understanding of what happens and how things work and the functions of it. At that point, then, karting is really a participation sport. If you go out and buy a brand new chassis and you buy a brand new engine and you do all the things brand new, it could get pretty salty. But there's really a lot of good used equipment out there. There's a lot of great shops that are based here at Whiteland that are really probably better to handle you. So, I mean, off the top of my head, I know we've got MPG, we have AMAX, we have New Gen, we got Top Kart. And so those guys and girls that operate those programs are really going to be probably the best ones. So I would say come out, say hi to Vince, have Vince introduce you to some of the shops. They can kind of show you what karts look like and sort of give you an idea of what you're looking at and then get involved in karting that way.
I'm actually too, because I know you've helped a lot of people get karting as well. So your thoughts on how the best way to get into karting?
Yeah, so kind of along the thing that Joe said there, that's a good process to follow. And you can get into it fairly cheap if you look around for used stuff, which you can come to the track and normally find something used on a race day that somebody's selling. I've sold race-ready 206 packages for like $2,000 ready to hit the track.
I feel like that's a good one. And then we'll move on to the next question here. This is my first year racing and karting. Do you have any beginner tips? Also, will you be sticking with MG Reds as the tire for the 2? I think that's 206 is what he meant to say there on the comment. So coming into karting, beginner tips, and what's the tires going to be for 206?
Well, there's a lot of beginner tips. And probably more than I think what we can even realistically probably cover right now. A lot of it's going to be pay attention. That's number one. Listen to the officials and the race director. Probably come out, and really actually probably ask some questions. Come out on practice days. Get a feel for how the facility moves and operates. And then find yourself or try to get yourself around people that know what they're doing. And that's in terms of not just, a lot of it's going to be like chassis setup. A lot of it's going to be just general maintenance. A lot of it's going to be finding a really good driver, somebody who's experienced around this place. Like find yourself a Burpo. Unfortunately, Burpo is going to be race directing, so he can't really help you in that realm. But I think what you're going to find is that of all of the people that are out here, the amount of help and resources that you're going to have available to you is going to shock you. So all the way from myself to Andy and Sarah to Vince to Matt to any of the officials that are here, the tech staff, everybody on our side can help in a lot of ways. And then all of our friendly racers that are here can also help you quite a bit too. In terms of tires, that's a pretty advanced question for a beginner. So obviously, some of you know, maybe some of you don't know, but I'm sure everybody knows. MG did go through a homologation cycle, as they all did. And we've moved from the MG-SH to the MG-SH2. And that changeover, you can still run your older tires, you can still run SHs until it was number 4, correct? Round 4. And at round 4, we're going to switch completely over. So the first 3 events, you can run either or. Beginning race number 4, we're moving completely to SH2. I was told that we do have inventory of the SH2s. I don't believe we have any more of the SHs, but we do have SH2.
Can we run the old? I think you just answered this one. Can we run the old SH compounds if we have stock to burn off? As you said, up to round 4, you can still run those. Move on to the next question. Are there any plans to add more garage space in the future? I do. That is Vince.
As of now, we don't have anything in discussions. However, we do still have the garage waiting list. You can find it on our website. People are moving in and out. So we're trying to find that space for people. We love having you guys here. The garages are great for those people who don't really have access to a trailer or a truck to tow it. So definitely, if you're interested, get yourself on that wait list. And that's all I have.
Wait for the next one here. Class structure.
Yeah, so class structure is going to be coming out via Facebook and Discord. We really took a lot of time. We actually looked at a lot of stuff. We have removed a few classes from last year. Off the top of my head, and Vince can help me with this, Kid Karting Novice has been removed. Actually, you remember?
Yeah, so we have removed Kid Kart Novice, 2 and 4 Cycle Novice, Unlimited, Yamaha, as well as Masters Heavy. Those who ran Kid Kart Novice, you'll still be allowed to run. They will just be with the Kid Karts. Other big class change we made was last year's 206 Sportsman. We have separated that into 2 classes. We have Cadet, which is the red slide, and then Sportsman, which is the green slide. So we just felt like it was better to separate those with the age gap as well as the weight gap. Other than that, all classes will be exactly the same as last year.
Wait for the next question to come up on the board. Will there be track when will the track be open for practice? I'll hand that over to Vince.
We are currently trying to target March 15th as being open for practice. Obviously, this is weather permitting, as well as on-track improvements such as the curbing and fencing and all that. But March 15th, that's what we're shooting for.
For the next one on the board, Discord link.
Actually, I got to figure out where the Discord link is.
About 4 Facebook posts down.
Yeah, Andy's telling me look 4 Facebook posts down. And what we'll probably do over the next couple of weeks is we'll post that Discord link fairly often. And then we'll also probably email that out too to make sure everybody can get on it.
Wait for the next question here. Age for Supermasters.
So for a lot of our classes, we are going to be following CK&A and how they run everything. So our Supermasters is going to be basically the equivalent of CK&A Legends, so it is 50 years old for Supermasters.
And I think that may be the last of the questions, if I'm not mistaken.
Questions on MG reigns, we will allow the old reign and the new reign.
Okay, so the question for MGs, MG reigns, they allow both the old reign and the new reign. Is that all the way through the season?
All the way through.
All the way through the season. So in the slick tire, you have to change from the MGH over the MGH2 after race 4. MG reigns are good new and old through the whole season. And sorry, that question just got answered right now from Andy. And is there any more, Stuart, for questions? It looks like no. So we're going to start to wrap things up here. If you have any more questions, feel free to message on Facebook, Instagram, and the Discord link as well. As Joe said, 4 posts down from the one with the most recent one, where you can ask other questions in there. Vince is going to be behind the keyboards on that one to help everyone out. So we'll do closing thoughts here. Going down the order before we send it on home. Matthew, you want to start?
I just want to close out say that I'm excited to be working with Andy and Sarah and Joe and Vince, and I'm just hoping for a good 2024.
Kind of piggyback off of Matt here. I mean, I think it's going to be a great year. Oh, it looks like we actually do have another question, Caleb. Getting a little ahead of yourself there. Any major changes to the race program, that is order of events, expected race distances, starts, etc.?
Well, now, why did you hand it to me? So, that's a lot of questions. So let's see, major changes to the race program. Yeah, actually there is. And this is going to be coming out here pretty quick, and we're kind of probably getting a little ahead of ourselves. But one program I've seen operate in a lot of other facilities, well, not a lot of other facilities, but some very good facilities, is a split race program. And so we're going to basically, and like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but a lot of people want to run 2 different classes, and that can create a lot of problems within a race schedule, right? So we have people that are trying to change weights, change tires, and change this and change that. And so one thing I've seen that's worked pretty successfully out there is, again, a split schedule. So I want you to think of 5 classes that run in the morning, and it's a complete show in the morning. And then when there's a break, and then there's a complete show in the afternoon. Again, for basically we run half in the morning and we run the other half in the afternoon. The key here is that we're taking common classes. Let's take 206 light and 206 medium, because a lot of those get transfer entries, right? So the same people run both classes. You run light in the morning and medium in the afternoon, if that makes sense. If you're an older guy like me, you'd run an older guy class in the morning and then an older guy class in the evening. So that's probably going to be the main one. Race distances, I'm still designing exactly. What we are going to do is we're going to switch to a time plus laps, so you won't see laps. We're going to do something like, for example, an 8-minute, so like a heat race could be 8 minutes plus 2 laps. A feature could be 12 minutes plus 2 laps. That allows you to know exactly your run time all the time, no matter what the circuit that we're running is. It also allows us to stay on schedule a little bit better. Yeah, thank you for putting them back up there, Stuart. And then starts. Probably the only real thing that's going to change on start. It's going to work very, very similar, but we are going to move to the start zone. And so it's basically, like I said, we're going to have a lot of this information that's going to be coming out in the coming days, but it's in the NK rulebook. What you'll see is if you've ever been to a Stars race, it's how we do it there. Scoos, I believe, follows it. A lot of tracks have adopted it. And basically, you start in between 2 cones. Those 2 cones will be fairly close to turn 1, whatever turn 1 is. And, it's a safety-related change that was made in the sport a number of years ago. It really keeps first corner incidents down to almost nothing, or nothing at all. So it's a definitive thing that I really want to see implemented across the United States as much as possible. So we are going to be implementing that here, and we'll make sure to go over all of that. I saw something about lightning, didn't I? Yeah. Was that the next one? That was the next one. Or lighting? Yeah, Andy discussed lighting. They are adding some lighting to it. It's really probably more of an Andy question because he's definitely the facility guy. Vince, do you know enough about lighting to expand on it? But I believe that they're adding lighting to the new section that's going to bump that up a little bit. So I'm not sure if that answered the question totally or not.
Any more comment on that? Or Vince, for that question about lighting? Do you have any more comments on it?
Just like Joe said, Andy mentioned earlier, we are adding sportscaster lighting to the new section of the track. That way we will still be able to do that Wednesday night under the lights program. So everything's be good. We're not going to have those portable generator lights, so it should be a little better view.
All right, the next one is the Alpha app live yet?
It is not, but it's coming very soon. So stay posted on Facebook and Discord. We're wrapping up a couple of things, and I want to reiterate to you guys, and I'm sorry it sounds like a couple of things we're not exactly giving you very specific dates. And like I said, there's been a lot that's gone on the last couple of weeks. So we're tackling big things, and then we're getting down to and distilling down to specific days. So I would anticipate that we're going to be having Alpha is probably going to go live next week. I'm not going to guarantee it because there's still a couple things I want to tweak and make sure that we're all in agreement on here. But very, very soon. And you guys are going to really like the Alpha, the app itself. The timing and scoring stuff that's in it, you can enter all your events right through it. You can buy all your products through it. So it's a really neat application. So I can't wait to get in here.
Next question. Are the criteria when it comes to age specifically determining eligibility to run green slide instead of red slide based on age alone?
That's probably a good question to sort of contact us independently. Because I don't have the stuff sitting in front of me, so I can't remember exactly what the ages are. What I can tell you is if you're running red slide, for example, and you're also running micro, you do have to run the same class in those two various things. When it comes to determining age for a class, what I can tell you is you'll use your competition age. And I think maybe what the question really is you use your competition age for that year. Your competition age is whatever your age is on December 31st of this coming year. Pretty much within the last probably 5 years, I think most major organizations have gone to that, using the December 31st age as your competitive age for that year. So if you're 6 in June, but you turn 7 in July, your competition age is 7, and so then you would qualify for that particular class.
Will kid karts still use a smaller track and still have standing starts?
TBD. In terms of the slide, I don't really want to speak to that necessarily. The exact kid kart program, standing starts tend to work fairly well with kid karts, and so I don't really anticipate that changing. In terms of the smaller track, that's usually what we're going to want to do. Our goal is to teach kid karts and in how to race, and keeping the speed down in those things is a lot better because this is going to shock you, but kid karts tend to make mistakes. And so we want to minimize the risk to the kids and maximize their learning and their time on the racetrack and experiencing what it's like to go through a racing event.
Since next comments coming over, are sponsorship opportunities available? Vince, I believe that's you.
Yes, I left him a message yesterday.
Oh, Andy says yes. He left you a message yesterday. Check your inbox.
Tell him I'll call him again.
They'll call him again. They'll call you again. Sorry. Let's see the next question up here, Stuart. Race entry cost. Vince, is that a you question?
We haven't quite finalized that yet. Another one of those things that's kind of more the nitty gritty. We're working out the smaller details on that. They will be similar to last year, so we're not going to price gouge you. We're not going to make it inexpensive. At the end of the day, we are a club race in the Midwest. We want to grow the sport. We don't want to price anyone out. So we'll announce the exact prices in the coming days, but no big changes.
And I believe that is all the questions we have here. So we heard our closing statements from Matthew and Vince so far, if I'm not mistaken. My memory did fade me, so we did not hear. Closing statements, Vince.
Yeah, we started, and then you got a little too happy with no more questions. But yeah, looking forward to a great 2024 with everyone. Really excited to be working with both Matt and Joe. They bring a lot of outside viewpoints to what I had, and with us having kind of our own positions, own presidencies almost of the whole corporation, we can really focus on things in our viewpoint and make sure the whole facility is really working well and running like a fine-tuned machine. You won't see me running around like a chicken with my head cut off this year, kind of like you did last year. So definitely welcome the opportunity. Really glad Andy and Sarah, Joe and Matt agreed to have me come back on board, and let's go racing.
Well, not a whole lot. You guys have probably heard me talk a lot. I think I'm just really excited to get down and dig in and begin watching the operations out here and looking for ways to make the program better for you. There's a lot of people that are going to put a lot of time and effort into creating good, unique, quality events for you guys to come run at. And so that's pretty much all I've got. I'm looking forward to getting to know a lot of you. I know a good chunk of people out here, but so I'm looking forward to getting to know the people out here and becoming engaged and involved and kicking butt and taking names.
And so my closing statements, if anyone cares, I'm happy to see that grassroots karting is back and growing. I can't tell you how excited I was when I heard that we have all three of these gentlemen, I should say. Janoski with his experience on the regional national, though you say stars isn't regional or national, it's stars. Fully agree with that one. And then seeing Mr. Burpo, not only I was excited that he was taking over SIRA, but he was also the race director here. I feel like we are about to enter what could be the start of the golden ages of karting back in the Midwest, which I don't think we've seen for quite some time. All thanks to Andy and Sarah purchasing the track back in 2017, 2018. Did a complete 360, if not a 900-degree turn from what it was at before. So we're happy to see everything grow here. And again, if you have any more questions, make sure you leave it on the Facebook, Instagram, and Discord chat. If you haven't yet, go on to the Facebook app. Fourth post down from the top, you'll find the Discord link. If you have any questions at all, make sure you ask that in the Discord. Vince will be the one behind that. Any other comments, questions, or concerns can be in the chat as well. And we look forward to seeing everyone back here. Let's just call it beginning of March. Beginning of March is when we'll see everyone back here for the track opening. More updates coming as well on social media. So for everyone up here on the podium or stand, I guess you can say, I want to thank you for tuning in. And I appreciate you guys' questions and comments. Wish you guys a good night. Thank you.